shot to do what?
Before I get to the first thing, we got our first comments. I'm late, Germ. That's cool. Very unprofessional. I'm sorry that I was late for this service that we provide for free for you at the cost of our own time and effort. I'm sorry that we are a whole whopping 8 minutes late. I know that's about 7 more minutes than you needed on your last Bang Bros visit, but hey, we're here now. We're having a good time. We got a special post-Thanksgiving podcast. Talk a little NFL Week 13, little Week 13 action. We'll run through the AFC South and who do we trust most to win a somewhat surprisingly interesting division. And then if the Chicago Bears, who are leading the NFC currently, are actual title contenders or are they fool's gold? And who do we think is going to win Coach of the Year? We got Dwayne Marcus with us, so we should get some really good football conversation out of it as we try to figure out how a quarterback missing his wide open receivers is somehow the offensive coordinator's fault in Philadelphia. Please, Eagles fans, I beg you, don't egg us.
Welcome to Stuff About Sports. Shout out to my cohorts. Give us a shot, network. Show us your support, because we bring you the heat. Best pot out in these streets, and when it's over, put that shit on repeat.
Sports. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Stuff About Sports, presented by the Give Us a Shot Network, powered by Fast Break Coffee, and sponsored, as always, Bert, by the haters. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to the first timers, the last timers, all the long timers. Shout out to the YouTube viewership, podcast listenership, social media ship. We hit 10K last week. It's been going strong. We gained another 100 followers, so we're growing rapidly. So hopefully we'll continue to give you good content to at least merge with. You guys are really upset. The Bears fans are really upset with me, guys. The Eagles fans are really upset with me. And so hopefully we're going to continue to keep that streak going, because your tears are like PEDs with us. As I said in the open, Dwayne Marcus is here. Hello, Dwayne. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I didn't know that there was a new intro in town.
Yeah, man. 10K, you got to level up. You know what I'm saying? We got to let them know. Let them know the streets are here. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, just something a little different. You know, sometimes you just got to, you know, the biggest room we'll ever be in, Dwayne Marcus, is the room for growth. And sometimes you just got to take that next step. You can't be scared to stay where you're at. Like this guy, who's this, what do you say, Germ? What'd I tell you about that hat? I loosened the hat, man. Like, geez, I don't know what to tell you. It's loose. It's not that tight. My head isn't pulsating like it was last week. You see the vein in my middle of my forehead. The Colts still winning the South, and the Coach of the Year is Ben Johnson. We'll get to Ben Johnson. I don't know about that. Bert, man, how you doing?
What's not, you know, what's to complain about these days? Nothing, man. I'm doing great. Can't wait. I think we were spoiled by fantastic Thanksgiving games and the NFL this past week. So, yeah, man, let's get into it.
So before we get into it, we have Bucket of Doom business to handle. This is a good week that Dwayne Marcus is joining us, because this is his first week. He is back eligible to throw his team back after foolishly betting like several weeks of non-throwbacks. He actually did pretty well. Bert, you were 7-6. Corey is 6-7. Dwayne Marcus, without throwbacks, 8-5. I am 9-4. Carl 6-7. Mike is 7-6, and Ty is 6-7. So it's actually been a pretty competitive Bucket of Doom season. And so as Bert pulls up this week 14, holy crap, week 14, right? Jesus, only a few minutes left. Bert, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh,
I don't know how that goes this time.
The Ravens.
Corey, the Kansas City Chiefs. Man, Corey's just been. Well, I don't know. Kansas City's not really they lost their luster.
I got
Dwayne Marcus. Wow. Dwayne Marcus with the Buffalo Bills. Jeez. Unbelievable, man. The fates of just, I don't know. against the 4-8 Bengals. But Joe Burrow's back, so we'll see. I don't know. That can go either way. I have the Minnesota Vikings. I'll tell you right now, that's a throwback. I mean, Carl, the Miami Dolphins.
Miami Dolphins.
Mike, the Seattle Seahawks. I think he had them last week. And Ty, the Tennessee Titans. Got to imagine he's going to want to throw that joint back too.
We can go ahead and throw the Steelers back, actually.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that because I'm going to throw the Vikings back. Bucket of Doom is a suicide pool. Cover your ears. Sorry, suicide pool. But we will be doing a playoff edition, so if you're interested in that, please send us a message at Stuff About Sports. I'll get you signed up. Green Bay Packers. You have a chance here to dethrone the fraudulent Bears. I'm going to throw the Vikings back.
Why? They play the Commanders, bro.
Oh, they do play the Commanders. Oh, that's not. I thought the Bears Packers was this week. All right.
No, the Bears play this week, but the Vikings play the Commanders.
Oh, I don't give a shit. It don't matter. And I win. The Texans. I'll take the number 1 defense in the league with CJ Stroud returning. I like that. Against the Chiefs. Yeah, they're going to put the Chiefs. They're going to end the Chiefs season here. As I said in the open, got our guy, Dwayne Marcus. Follow him at marcus.talks.sports on the Instagram. If you're into women's basketball, he's really good at that. Really good at football, basketball, everything. He's good at everything. He talks sports. That's why his handle is Marcus Talks Sports. So follow my guy. All right, let's get started. The good, the bad, the fugly from week 13. Bert, who do you have for your good?
Man, look no further than the Seahawks and their defense shutting out Minnesota. Say what you want about Minnesota's offense. I still think in today's day and age of the NFL, to ensure that the other team can't even score a single point is still impressive. So my good has to go to them.
Dwayne Marcus.
My good goes to Drake May. Drake May is the NFL MVP. I don't really know what more you want from me. And I think that as much as I would love to have come on this pod here tonight and say a lot of lovely things about Josh Allen because he deserves it, Drake May is the quarterback of the best team in the league right now. And I don't know about you, but as far as I'm concerned, or at least according to the history, that's usually who wins MVP anyway. So shout out Drake May. Drake May. There it is. I messed it up. There you
go. It's all good. We got it.
For securing himself an MVP award in his second season, and he can thank Matt Stafford for it because, by God, Matt Stafford looked awful on Sunday.
Are we allowed to have bad games? Is Matt Stafford allowed to just have a bad game? Everybody's acting like this guy hasn't been amazing.
There's 2 picks and a fumble against the Panthers.
I feel you, but they act like this is the problem with sports fans in general. They'll just ignore an entire season of awesome because of the one terrible game. Yes, it was terrible. I'm not defending Matt Stafford. You're talking to the guy who kept him out of the Hall of Fame. I've been calling him Matt Hall of Very Good for years. He's a Hall of Famer, especially if he wins the MVP this year. But I'm not going to allow one bad game to a feisty Carolina Panthers team, by the way, possible NFC South champions. Yeah. And all things considered, because everybody's going by history, a pretty good Panthers team. They're pretty good this year. You can't say they're a bad team because this is not just one of those random fluke wins against a good team that a bad team seems to have every year against somebody. They've been beating pretty good teams all year, and they've been competitive pretty much all year. So I think it's just like the stench of that. It's the Carolina Panthers that people don't like. But shout out to the Panthers. Obviously, I'm in North Carolina. I'm surrounded by Panthers fans. Every time I turn the corner, all I hear is "Wow, wow, wow, Panthers!" Yeah, this is that's their mating call or whatever the fuck. So shout out to the Panthers. Shout out to my guy Jeremy Shaw. He's a big Panthers fan. He's my captain at the Firehouse, and all he does is talk Panthers. So I'm tired of it. My good, no brainer, y'all. Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills, specifically the Buffalo Bills run game for totally dominated. They counted us out. The Steelers were supposed to make it happen. Aaron Rodgers made Aaron Rodgers look old. Finally, for the first time in a long time, made Aaron Rodgers look old, and a record 249 rushing yards, the most by any team at Pittsburgh. Of course you have to get the good. James Cook racked up 144 of them bad boys. The run game's looking good. The thing that everybody said was doom in the bill, shout out to Shaq Thompson. Thank you, Carolina Panthers, since we're talking about them. Fixed our bad run defense, at least for 1 week. Well, I mean, the Bills already have the best passing defense in the league. And if we can just get an average run defense, we're going to be in pretty good shape. So my good is going to be the Buffalo Bills. Now, the first half did not go well. It's the second half. So I should rephrase that. The second half of those Buffalo Bills gets my good. Bert, bad.
Well, Dwayne Marcus led into it. It's Matt Stafford. Just terrible game. You know, and we talk about this time and time again. How do you expect to win if you continue to turn the ball over? And with 2 picks and a fumble on the day, and say what you want. I know you just mentioned, I agree, they're a feisty Carolina Panthers team. There's some spark in them in itself, but at this point, we expect more out of Matt Stafford and the Rams, and he has to get my bad this week because ultimately, this is what led to them losing.
Dwayne Marcus?
Yeah, I would agree. It's also Matt Stafford. I think Matt Stafford was the leader in the clubhouse for MVP. You go out there, you throw 2 picks. One of them was a pick 6, and you fumble the football. And more importantly, those 2 picks were like bad picks. Like those weren't like 50-50 ball picks. Like the first one was like a bad ball, and the second one was even worse. And then he fumbled the ball as well. And so that would have been my bad. But then I watched football a couple days before that, right? And on national TV against the Cincinnati Bengals, I watched Lamar Jackson play the worst game of his career. The Cincinnati Bengals going into that game hadn't forced a fumble all season. And they hadn't forced a fumble or a turnover since like week 2 or something. And they forced 4, I think. And I'm still supposed to believe that Lamar Jackson is the 3rd best quarterback in the NFL. I'm still supposed to believe that Lamar Jackson is better than Jalen Hurts. Because say what you want about Jalen Hurts, Jerm, Jalen Hurts would have never played against the Cincinnati Bengals the way I watched Lamar Jackson play against the Cincinnati Bengals on national TV on Thursday. They had an opportunity to do the unthinkable, like close the door on the AFC North and like once and for all prove that the Ravens are different when Lamar Jackson's there. And he played god awful. The first one, I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what was worse. The pick that Lamar Jackson threw or the pick that the Vikings quarterback threw in that game that Draymond Jones ran back. I don't know which one of those 2 picks was worse. Like I sit here and I say to all the Lamar Jackson fans out there, I told you so. Because I was the one that came on this show time and time again and had to argue Jerm down about Lamar Jackson not being all that great. And then I watched Lamar Jackson be the worst quarterback in football this week on Thanksgiving. Do you understand how great my Thanksgiving was? Do you realize I got to watch the Packers beat the Lions before dinner? I had 3 plates of dinner, so I returned to my prime. And then before I went to bed, after I woke up from my post-Thanksgiving nap, I got to watch Lamar Jackson play like dog water on national TV for the world to see. And there's no one there's not a thing that anyone can say to make me feel otherwise about Lamar Jackson. And if any other quarterback would have played the way Lamar Jackson played in that game, in that scenario, they would have been ripped to shreds. So I'm actually glad that I'm back so that I can be the one to rip Lamar Jackson to shreds because by God, did he look awful against the Cincinnati Bengals. And I can't wait to see how much worse he looks against the Bengals this week. I really can't.
I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of you for that's what it's about, man. You take a stance and you die on that hill until you're proven right. You know, I've been wrong. These Jalen Hurts guys, you know how bad it hurt me that Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl, but I had to stand pat. You know why? Because I knew eventually the time will come where things will prove themselves. You did the same thing with Lamar Jackson. You were the first on the Lamar Jackson. Hold on now.
I would like that to be known. I was the first.
You were the first. And so I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate you and I understand and I'm proud of you because I know what that's like. And so my bad is going to the Indianapolis Colts. Guys, it wasn't that long ago. We're the Colts. Remember a few weeks ago? Best team in the league, yep. They said. The best feel-good story of the year. Drinking the Daniel Jones Kool-Aid. and it's not even Kool-Aid, it's Cool Drink. It's like the cheap brand, right? Like it's not. I mean, what's going on now? Listen, I'm sure a lot of it is Daniel Jones is injured. I don't think this is, and it kind of explains how he was so awesome for most of the year. To, I mean, what the hell is he doing out there? If you're playing with a fractured fibula, I can't imagine it's pretty comfortable to play in, and I'm sure it affects a lot of the play. But the problem you're having is now that the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans are now kind of starting to get it together. Jags started off hot. People thought they were falling back to earth. The Texans had some issues early on with injuries and CJ Stroud, and now they're all of a sudden you turn in your rear view, and the Texans are here now. So I don't know what's happening with the Colts offense going AWOL. Jonathan Taylor hasn't hit 100 rushing yards or scored a touchdown in the last few games. Is that all because Daniel Jones is hurt and teams are focused in on that? I don't know. All I can tell you is that it's different. And so for now, they have to get, my bad is specifically last week, just a more precipitous fall from where they were just a short few weeks ago. And so my bad is definitely going to the Colts for now. Hopefully they can get it back, because I'm rooting for Daniel Jones and I'm rooting for Jonathan Taylor. And obviously I don't want them to win the AFC. I want the Bills to do that, but I also want them to do well. I don't want this to be kind of the legacy after a great start. It'd be like a wasted season, I guess. Bert, Fugly.
Yeah, look, there's not much more I can say about my Fugly that Dwayne Marcus didn't just go off about. I mean, he seems like he's been one step ahead of me this entire show. My Fugly goes to the Ravens for that 5 turnover game. What was it? 3 by Lamar at least, and then another 2. So it was. And look, nothing against, because rooting for our guy Joe Burrow, especially in a comeback game too. But oh my God, was that just an abysmal performance in prime time on Thursday Night Football of Thanksgiving Day to complete was a fantastic football day for game 1 and 2. Just horrible, disgusting, ugly, just the worst. Probably arguably like the worst football we've seen in a good while. So listen, they have to get my Fugly. You don't turn the ball over 5 times and still win the game.
So when we started this, it wasn't strictly about what happens on the field. It's a total encompassing thing. Who has been more effing ugly this past week than the Philadelphia Eagles? And not just the Philadelphia Eagles, but the Philadelphia Eagles fans. It's bad enough that you talk about touchdown to interception ratio, even though you're the 23rd passing ranked offense in the league. Fraudulent stats all over the place. So touchdown to interception ratio. All those tush pushes, and Jalen Hurts has the same amount of rushing touchdowns as Dak Prescott. What are you bragging about? You act like this guy's. What are you talking about here? And here we are. You're blaming the offensive AJ Brown. Clearly mad at Jalen Hurts, but the fans are saying, no, he's not. He's mad at Kevin Patullo. Yeah, because Kevin Patullo is missing all of these wide open all-star receivers every play. Kevin Patullo is scared to throw over the middle. And then you lose on Thanksgiving or Black Friday to the Bears. The team even more fraudulent than you are? How much more ugly does it get than that? And to put the cherry on top, Dwayne Marcus and Bert, how can the Eagles fans get even more pathetic than they already are? They get in their car after they're done flipping burgers for 8 hours for $2.50 an hour. You drive to Morristown, New Jersey, and you waste $17 for 18 count of eggs. You waste them on throwing them and going to the coach's house, Kevin Patullo's house, where he lives, where his kids sleep, and you throw eggs at him like a bunch of delinquent juveniles. You can tell these Eagle fans get no pussy. You have nothing better to do. You have nothing. These small dick, tiny brain Eagles fans. This is why nobody likes you. Oh, nobody likes us, so we don't care. No, you do care. You care enough to drive all the way to Morristown, New Jersey, which is like a 45-minute drive to throw a couple eggs at a house, and you probably thought you were hot shit too. But guess what? You woke up a loser and you went to bed a loser, just like your team. All right. I hope you're proud of yourself. You Eagles fans. And trust me, this is a one bad apple spoils the bunch. I am lumping them with you because you Eagles fans have been on your worst behavior when it comes to this entire season. Because nobody can argue with you because all you're going to do is try to checkmate people with Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl. Oh, okay. Yeah. You're not the defending. You won the Super Bowl last year. You won this. And so what does that have to do with this year? What does that have to do with this year? The same thing with the Bears fans. Oh, we defeated the Super Bowl champs. No, you defeated last year's Super Bowl champs. Last year don't matter as evidence because you guys only won 3 games that last year. You won 9 games this year, so you're not counting your wins or your losses, but you're counting them this year for the Eagles. Listen, you Eagles fans, you should be embarrassed. You should be ashamed. I don't want to hear it. You justify it all you want. You got a loser-ass quarterback with a loser-ass franchise and a loser-ass fan base. All right? Enjoy last year's Super Bowl win. And that's it. And your literacy rate is like 22%. You can't even read. I can't even believe you even got to Morristown, New Jersey. How'd you read the fucking the traffic signs to get there? Can't believe you can follow directions because most of y'all can't even read. Losers. All right, I'm done with them. Sorry.
Okay.
All right, so what's next?
You feel good? You feel better?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
On that same wave, we all have members of our family where we know like we can't take certain places. My light just went out because they know I'm about to get on them. Give me 1 second.
Oh, you saw that? Oh my God, the bad juju all of a sudden just kicked in for it.
There we go.
Holy.
We all have members of our family that we can't take certain places because like they don't know how to act right in certain settings. Bears fans are that. I don't sit around and like I don't brag often, right? I'm a humble guy. I was raised right. I brag when I'm right, but for the most part, I stay in my place, right? And as the old saying goes, I do not care about the opinions of sheep. But it gets to a point, right, where you as a Bears fan, who most of you in your lifetime haven't even seen the Bears play in a conference championship game, want to get in my DMs and my Instagram mentions and tell me, Mike Hughes, that there's a changing of the guard happening on Sunday when your team won 9 games this season, coming off a season where they won 3. And you want to tell me, Mike Hughes, that BTA is on the way for the Green Bay Packers because you beat a team in the Philadelphia Eagles whose offense has been dysfunctional all season. A team that the 3 of us collectively actually watched on national TV push 4 times in a row against the New York Football Giants. And I'm supposed to be moved that you beat that team. A team whose offense quite literally hasn't played multiple consecutive weeks of elite offense this season. I'm supposed to be worried that the Chicago Bears are coming to Green Bay. When last I checked, the Green Bay Packers own the Chicago Bears and are 11-1 in our last 12 meetings. And if it weren't for the idiot that is Matt LaFleur, we'd be 12-0 against the Chicago Bears in our last 12 meetings. And I just, I know that we haven't won a Super Bowl in a long time and we haven't been to a Super Bowl in a long time, but I just would like to remind all the Bears fans out there that unlike most of you who are in my mentions, I have had the opportunity of seeing my team not only play in a Super Bowl, but win one. And appear in multiple conference championship games and have first round buys year over year and have winning season after winning season after winning season after winning season and actually not have to pick in the top 10 in the draft at all in my lifetime because we're just that good. So I look forward to Sunday. I look forward to Caleb Williams meeting his maker, Micah Parsons. I look forward to Caleb Williams meeting his other maker, Rashawn Gary. And I 100% look forward to seeing Bears fans in shambles because for the first time since 2006, the Chicago Bears are the top seed in the NFC, and they don't know how to act. And I can't wait for the Green Bay Packers to bring them back down to reality. So, Bears fans, you have been warned. And I sincerely hope that the Chicago Bears back up all this talking that y'all have been doing because when the Bears lose, because they're going to lose,
Mhm.
when the Bears lose, I'm on all of y'all. And Mike Hughes, I'm starting with you. And I want you to know that.
Bet. Don't recognize who that is, but shout out to Dwayne Marcus, my man. The segue was beautiful. I enjoyed it because that brings us to our next topic. The 9-3 Bears temporarily on top of the NFC East. Every week they say that it's something else. Every time they win, y'all got something else to bring up. I'm not a Bears fan. Do they need to win a Super Bowl for y'all? No, they need to be good. They need to win a game that is worth the record they have is because they had a soft schedule. And the best win on their resume is, as we talked about, in a spiraling Eagles team who can't get on the same page offensively. We just gave you the stats. They're one of the worst offenses in the league. And they have a bunch of I wouldn't even call it off the field, like a locker room turmoil. Like there's something going on, whether it's between the two players or the players and coach. I got to imagine it's a mix of everything. But now you think that the Super Bowl champion Eagles, who have the best front office in sports, if it's as simple as the offensive coordinator, you don't think Howie Roseman wouldn't just move from that? Like, do you think that these guys are just being stubborn? If they thought it was just simply the offensive coordinator, of course not. But you gym class Jerry's out there just watch games on your couch and think you know everything. Shut the fuck up. All right? Just watch the game. Enjoy the game. Okay. Now, when it comes to the Bears being legit, let's be honest about the contender word that gets thrown away to contenders for what? The Chicago Bears are about as legit as a $3 bill. And listen, I get it. 9-3. Congrats on finally winning games by the skin of your teeth, or only winning games by the skin of your teeth. But their point differential is +6, which is pathetic for a team that has 9 wins. All the other the other 3 9-win teams, or 10 wins now, are double digits. And so you're not blowing anybody out. It's not like you guys are just destroying the competition. You're winning coin flips. Let's be honest about it. Like, you're tied for the third worst out of for the last 12 games. 376 teams with 9 victories in the last 12 seasons. That's the worst point differential in the last 12 years. That's not a sign that you guys are good. That's a sign that you guys are lucky. You guys, that's an outlier. That's not a rule. But that's what you're living your life on. And I get it. You've been dog shit for a long time, and that's fine. Be happy with the victories. But let's knock it off with contenders. You guys know that Caleb Williams isn't good. He is bottom 3 in bad throw percentage. He's not good. He has a 58% completion percentage. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Russell Wilson has a better completion percentage than Caleb Williams. Is he good? Is he awesome? The fuck are y'all doing? Like, what is it? Knock it off. Ben Johnson is awesome. He is doing what you hired him for. But the problem is, you give an inch, you take a mile. You can't be happy that the Bears are finally turning it around and building towards something. You guys got to go to the extreme. Contenders, Super Bowl favorites. I couldn't believe the topics I was seeing on sports television today. The Bears. Listen, okay. The Bears are running to a gauntlet. Like I said, I didn't expect them to beat the Eagles, but they beat the Eagles. That's cool. But the defense is suspect, and your passing game is not good. If you think that's going to beat the Seahawks and the Rams and some of these other teams come playoff time, I got some volcano insurance to sell you if you truly believe that. Why am I making it about Caleb? Oh, why am I making it about Caleb Williams? Anybody want to take a fucking guess?
Position on the field.
Where was he drafted? Was he a 5th round draft pick like Shedeur Sanders? No, I'm pretty sure he was the number 1 draft pick. Matter of fact, he was the most touted number 1 draft. He was so good, he didn't have to do the draft combine. Remember that shit? Mm-hmm. No, I'm not doing no fucking medical things. I don't have to do that shit. I'm the number 1 pick. You know what? Even though I sucked in college, I just put up a bunch of numbers in garbage time. I didn't even sniff the playoff. All I could do was cry in my mother's arms because I forgot how to pass in the 4th quarter of big games in college. And we told you on this show, I'm pretty sure with the same 3 guys, that Caleb Williams heading into the pros is not going to translate the way you guys think he is. The problem is he's Manny Pacquiao. There was no other great boxer around him, so you fooled yourself to thinking he was the best. And guess what? He's not. He is average. He's okay. He has talent. I'm not telling you he's Nathan Peterman, but he's also not Patrick Mahomes. And you guys, you Bears fans, keep acting like you have Patrick Mahomes. It's a joke. If the Bears beat the Packers, then what? Then they beat the Packers. That's a good victory. That's a good victory.
Let's take this one. Okay. Let's just run down the ledger for the Bears, because I feel like at this point, maybe I'm missing something. So maybe one of these two distinguished men who have lived a little bit more than I. Maybe they can straighten me out here, because maybe I've missed the mark and I don't understand how football works. So if I go back and we take a look at the games the Bears have played this season, yes, they have won 9 football games. Love that for them. If we just run down their schedule real quick, first of all, they started the season 0-2 and got 52 hung on them the second week of the season because the Lions needed to take their anger out because they got beat on by the Packers the week before. Let's start there. Okay, so they beat the Cowboys. Good win. They beat the Raiders. They beat the Saints. They've beaten the Bengals. They've beaten the Giants. They've beaten the Vikings. Like, they haven't beaten, like, the best team they've beaten is the Philadelphia. You don't believe that. There's no way you believe that. There's no way.
Before I'm sorry. This is what bothers me about when people just look at where they rank. Dwayne Marcus is currently running down your level of competition. That's why you have the best O-line, because you played a bunch of shitty defensive line, and it just inflates and fools you to thinking what those numbers are. You're not playing the best defensive lines, and you guys are just now the best O-line in the NFC. You guys haven't played anybody, man. That's what Dwayne Marcus. Stop doing that to yourselves. Stop doing that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So this is my point with the Bears, right? And I understand how I'm not saying there's no reason to be excited, right? When you go from 3 wins to 9 wins, obviously there's something to be excited for. But what I am saying is, when you look at the teams that the Bears have played, and I get it, you can only play who's in front of you. The only fully healthy teams they have played were the first 2 weeks of the season. And they lost to J.J. McCarthy in primetime, and then they got 52 hung on them by the Lions because the Lions needed to prove a point that they were better than what happened week 1 in Lambeau. That's the reality. You guys played the Cowboys. They didn't have CD. You guys played the Raiders. The Raiders suck. You played Washington. No Terry McLaurin. You played the Saints. The Saints suck. You played the Ravens. If I'm not mistaken, they didn't have Lamar Jackson, and you lost that game to Cooper Rush. You played the Bengals. No Joe Burrow. You played the Giants. Giants suck. You played the Vikings. The Vikings, I believe, didn't have J.J. McCarthy in that game. I think you guys played freaking Carson Wentz in that game. You played the Steelers. The Steelers are old, and even that was a tough one for you. And then you beat the Eagles in their incompetence and their struggles. So, I love that for you. But you're approaching a stretch of the season where you have the Packers twice, the Niners, and the Lions. 3 teams who are better than you. 3 teams who know what it takes to win a football game. 3 teams with a better coach. 3 teams with a better quarterback. 3 teams with a better defense. 3 teams with better offensive weapons. 3 teams with better everything. So if you want to sit here and tell me that the success of the Chicago Bears hangs solely on a 9-point win over the defending champion Eagles, who we have all acknowledged have not been the same this season, then I don't know what to tell you other than clearly you're not used to winning. And that's just the reality of the situation. I don't care that your defense has been hurt all season. You've played nobody, bro. You have played nobody. There's not a good team on this. The good teams that you've played, you lost to. And the bad teams that you played, you've beat or barely beat. And you and you lost the game you had no business losing. And you want me to sit here and sing you your praises because you've won 9 games when you've had a cupcake schedule. You want me to be shivering in my boots because you beat a team that we held to 10 points.
Bert,
what do you want me to do?
Bert, are we tripping, or the Bears fans sniffing too much nail polish, or are they legit NFC title contenders?
No, I think Bears fans have every right to be excited, but you can't ignore the fact that of your 9 wins, the only currently as it stands teams above 500 that you beat are the Cowboys and the Eagles. Then you rolled over an old Steelers team that's currently sitting at 6-6. So there's at some point, look, appreciate what you're doing and you're winning games. But as Dwayne Marcus just said, because I had the same thing pulled up here, you're looking at a schedule that has like you said, the Packers twice, Detroit, and the Niners. Those are 4 games that I'd be nervous about. let's say you split against the Pack, you win against the Browns. I don't see you rolling over Detroit or the Niners. I mean, it's going to be tough going out, plain and simple. So I think, and as I said before, look, a win's a win. Enjoy it. But to sit here and pretend as though you all were beating the Chiefs or the Bills or these teams that have consistently won year over year, it's a bit delusional. It really is. So enjoy the win on Friday and then look and see what happens this weekend. I think this is probably going to be the biggest test of the season. And especially knowing since you have the Packers again in a couple of weeks after the fact, like as a franchise, you have to take one of those games. Otherwise, you know for sure that you're losing the division.
The Bears have played, of all the teams that are currently in playoff positioning, the Bears have played two teams. They have played three teams. Sorry. No, two, because it goes to 7. They have played 2 teams that currently hold a playoff spot. They played the Ravens, who they lost to without Lamar Jackson, and they played the Eagles, who they just beat, right? They also lost to the Lions, who are currently not in the playoffs, and they lost to the Vikings, who are 4-8. I am not going to sit here and be moved by a team that has split games against playoff teams and has not really played another team of full competence. You want to sit here and you want to keep saying the Packers lost to the Eagles. Yeah, we did lose to the Eagles in a defensive football game, in a game where literally we lost because of one blown coverage. One blown coverage is the reason why we lost that game. One blown coverage. If not for that one play, the Packers win that game 7-3. So, whatever. We lost the Eagles, fine. But the Packers have also consistently the past couple of years been the toughest opponent for the Eagles, statistically and literally, in all of those games. We've defended them the best. We've played the best offense against them. Every time the Packers and Eagles have played a football game, it has come down to 1 or 2 plays. You just got here, little bro. You're still wet behind the ears. You just got here. Welcome to the big kid table. It's your first Thanksgiving at the adult table where you can finally sit here with the big kids. Love that for you. Relax. Please. Relax.
The one thing I don't like about what the Bears fans are doing is they're hanging their hats on beating the Eagles. Look at that. We just beat the Super Bowl champs. So does that mean you're the Super Bowl champs now? How does that work? What does that mean? Like you beat them. Okay. Like the Eagles are not undefeated. They've lost games too. Like just stop using victories and trying to make it the story, because we can do this. Bad things happen. The Giants beat the Eagles too. You think the Giants are good? It isn't. It's you're using these wins and you're picking and choosing and ignoring everything else. If you're going to be, in your heart of hearts, if you're going to tell me that the Bears, when you get to the playoffs, that you think you're just going to coast through the fucking playoffs and you're going to win these games because of miraculous special teams plays like the Bears have been winning, they've been winning on everything under the sun other than the merit of their quarterback. You're winning because your coach is a genius and you've been a little lucky. Actually, a lot of lucky. And it's fine, but just stop puffing out your chest like you're making some sort of statement when you're in reality scraping by a lot of these wins. Again, 9 wins is 9 wins, but let's pump the brakes on contender. Like throwing around the C word is dangerous. So just we'll see.
I mean, technically, right now they are contending for the division. So
I feel you, and yeah, and I'm talking about NFC title. Like they're talking about like the Bears.
That's contending for the division, but also like at the same time, you have to sit here and recognize that obviously you expect the Bears to be better this season. They won 3 games last season. Yeah. But if you're asking me if a team is a contender, what you're asking me is, do I think this team, because at the rate the Bears are, do I think this team, the Chicago Bears, are going to be able to host or go on the road and make themselves into a Super Bowl caliber football team? The answer to that question is no. Because when the Bears see the Rams, they're going to lose. If the Bears see the Eagles again, they would lose. There's not a team in this field of playoffs except for the Packers, because it will be another divisional type game and anything happens in those games. There's no other game where you look at if the Bears walk into that game and you say, the Bears are favorites. You feel good about the Bears winning this game. Even in a Packers game, even if they are the 1 seed, the Bears wouldn't be favored in a single game this postseason. I can't say you're a contender off that. Your quarterback is completing less than 60% of his passes, and you want me to believe that you are a contending football team for a championship. You've lost your mind. Again, like I said, this is proof that y'all just don't know what it's like to be up here. And it's okay.
And this is also proof that you don't listen. Did I say that the Eagles were going to beat the Bears? I never said that. I actually gave you a way that you could win. Now, my prediction was wrong. The analysis was wrong because if I looked at the data, the Eagles secondary is the weak point and their run defense is the strong point. So I said if you were to win, you would win in the air. Now, they won on the ground. That's whatever. If you want to talk about my analysis being wrong, but I never said that the Eagles were going to straight up win. I said the Bears could win, actually, because the Eagles' offense is terrible. Y'all don't listen. Y'all probably, Bears fans are just as stupid as the Eagles fans. So, anyway, moving on to the AFC South. We have the Texans, we have the Jags, we have the Colts. Bert, who do you trust more to find it? Because I think we have the Texans are 7-5, but you have the Jags and the Colts at 8-5. We're running out of time here. Who do you trust the most to win that division? Because I don't think the AFC South is going to get 2 playoff teams. So we're going to get a really good team, probably 2 really good teams out of the playoffs. So if we have to pick one of those 3 and the other 2 are not getting in at all, who do you trust the most to finish this thing off and win the AFC South?
Based on schedule, probably the Jags. They've got a layup with the Jets and the Titans. And then the Colts and the Jags play each other twice. The difference from a Colts schedule standpoint is they got the Seahawks and the Niners and Houston to finish out too, in addition to the Jags. So I think if I'm looking for a shoo-in and a cakewalk out of there, it's probably the Jags.
Dwayne Marcus?
I do hear you on the scheduling point, but I do think the Texans are going to win the division. It's going to require some assistance, obviously, because they're 3rd in the division right now, but they're only a game back, right? But if you're asking me who I trust more, I trust the Texans more because they have a quarterback in CJ Stroud. He's the best quarterback in the division. They've had the best defense in the league all season. And I feel like somehow DeMeco Ryans still isn't getting enough credit as a really good head coach. Like, I think what he's done this season to have this team in a position where they're just outside the playoffs right now, they're the 8th seed, but like they are a game back of the Bills of the 7th seed. And like I said, a game out of first place in the division. I think they have a chance. Now, obviously, to Bert's point, it is going to be tough because of the schedule, but in the same way, like that actually could benefit for them because the Jags and the Colts have to play each other twice and the Colts have a tougher schedule. So like, even if the Colts beat the Jags twice, they can very easily lose those other 3 games. And then those wins against the Jags don't matter. So for the Texans, I think they're peaking at the right time. I think CJ Stroud is the best quarterback in the division. I think DeMeco Ryans is still the best coach in the division, or arguably the best coach in the division, but I think he's still the best coach in the division and obviously have the best defense in the league. They're peaking at the right time. Nico Collins is back. Like, it just seems like everything is going the way they need to go. Yes, CJ Stroud is the best quarterback in the division. That isn't like that isn't breaking news.
I don't think that's wild. I don't think that's wild. I mean, you could argue. If you want to on this season, if you want to based on this season,
has played better this season, I'll give you that. But CJ Stroud has missed time.
Yeah,
CJ Stroud,
correct,
objectively is the best quarterback. There's only one guy in that division who is a fringe top 10 quarterback, and it's the guy who wears number 7 for the Houston Texans. And this is the problem. See, Bears fans, they don't think before they say something. They just say stuff because I don't understand how that's like a controversial thing. But yeah, I started to say I do think I trust the Texans more, and I do think the Texans can win it just because I think they're peaking at the right time. And the Colts, bro, like these losses that they've suffered, these losses are not only do they hurt, but like these are losses that like we all knew would come. Like we all knew that Daniel Jones would regress to the mean. We all knew that they wouldn't be hot forever. I think the most troublesome thing for the Colts is what was working for them at the beginning of the season that got them on that win streak. They're starting to get away from. It's like they're not giving Jonathan Taylor the ball as much as they were initially. And we all know that you need to feed Jonathan Taylor in order for the Colts to win football games. I'm not understanding why we're getting away from that. They've been a little bit more shootouts. Like I understand that component of it. But if Daniel Jones is going to start looking more like how we are used to Daniel Jones looking, that part plays into it as well, because it's like, you know, he's going to give away 1 or 2 of these games, not to mention the fact that they have the toughest 5-game stretch remaining of the other 3 teams. It's tough.
Yeah, I think I understand that, but the Jags do have the tiebreakers and they do have the easier schedule. So if everything goes the way it's been going, then it's probably going to be the Jags. It's just, to me, it's fascinating that this division that we thought was going to be a dumpster fire is somehow the most fascinating division in football. It's like, and it's like good football. Like, and a lot of it is the Colts. I think the Colts, even though they're struggling lately, still lead the league in total points because they were so excellent at the beginning of the year. And again, a lot of that probably has to do with Daniel Jones's injury. Can he kind of shake that off and make a push? As far as the Texans go, as of right now, with the last few games left, it's the 24th hardest schedule. So unless CJ Stroud turns into kind of like the MVP candidate he was a few years ago in these last few weeks, and the Colts continue to lose, and maybe the Jags drop one or two here, I find it hard for the Texans to do it. It would be miraculous, but I think it's just a harder task. It's a hard ask. And
they've got the Cardinals and the Raiders before going to LA to play the Chargers and closing out with the Colts. Like, they do have those two buffer games. Like, if the Colts drop any of those three games between that second game against the Jags, the game against the Niners, or the game against the Seahawks, they're likely going to lose to the Seahawks. Like, it just gives them that wiggle room. That's just not having to worry about playing multiple divisional games down the stretch, I think, could be the difference. They just have the one at the end of the season. And depending on how the Colts look before they get to that game might not even matter in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Because the Colts would have to beat the Jags and the Texans. The Jags get the Colts twice, but then they get Denver. It's tough. Like, because Daniel Jones' injury, I'm only leaning towards the Jags because their schedule is simply just easier than the Texans, even though I would be definitely more afraid of the Texans and wouldn't be shocked if they made it happen. Jerm, what do you think is going to happen with the Bills this week? You're scared as hell. Yeah, the Bills are playing the Bengals. I wouldn't say scared as hell. The difference here's the thing. Bengals will play that same clip from Joe Burrow from 2001 or 2021. Like, time works backwards. Like, right? Like that, we're playing that Bengals team apparently, not the one that's 4-8, the one that's been basically terrible all year. I get Joe Burrow has been out all year and he's back. This is his second game back. So are the Bengals going to be whoever? I don't know. What I do know is the difference between 2021 and now is that the Bills have the best pass defense and the Bengals don't have any good running. Their run game. So the one thing that the Bengals need to attack the Bills on, which is the run game, they don't have a run game. So, and we have the best passing defense in the NFL. So I actually feel pretty good. I'm not that scared. Again, it's Joe Burrow. We'll see if the indication from the Steelers game is any indication for the Bills. I feel pretty good about it, to be honest with you. I think the Bills finally found a formula. I think the addition of Shaq Thompson the last two games has really improved our run defense. Teams haven't been running on us nearly as much as they have since he's been inserted as the middle linebacker. So I feel pretty good. I think the Bills. I feel like the Bills have a pretty good shot. A pretty good shot. At least the Bills do. But Sean McDermott definitely is not the coach of the year because fuck Sean McDermott. But Bert, who to you so far? There's a lot of good candidates out there. Yeah. I know the easy answer is Ben Johnson. I am not of the belief, but who do you think is so far or will end up being the coach of the year for the NFL?
Man, I mean, you can go between, there's three in my mind because you have Ben Johnson, Shane Steichen, and you have to give credit for what Mike Vrabel's doing in New England too. If I'm going with if I have to pick one, I'd probably have to go Shane Steichen, to be honest with you. I mean, I understand there's offensive talent there, but I mean, who would have thought at the beginning of the season with Daniel Jones earning that job that they were going to be, the last 2 weeks aside, as offensively powerful as they had been all year. Now, of course, we'll see how the season finishes out, but he'd probably get my top vote at this point.
Dwayne Marcus?
I feel like it has to be the Patriots, right? Like the Patriot, or not the Patriots. It has to be Mike Vrabel because of the job he's doing with the Patriots. Sorry, you look at the Patriots; they're the number one seed in the AFC right now. They were 0-2 to start the season. They've won 10 straight. The last time a team lost 13 games and then followed up with a season where they won 10 straight the very next season, if you go back to the Colts, I think it was 1998 or 1999, somewhere in the late 90s like that, which was right around the time that Peyton Manning arrived. Or so like that tracks. It makes sense. Early in the years of Peyton Manning is when that happened. But to see this and to see the growth of Drake May into an MVP candidate in year 2, you have to attribute that to Mike Vrabel, right? Now, I get the Shane Steichen love, but again, like we just talked about, I think the Colts are going to fall off a cliff, and I don't even think the Colts are going to have a record that's good enough for him to be Coach of the Year. And then for Ben Johnson, again, the story is great. It's very similar to the story of the Patriots, but where I push back on Ben Johnson is while the team is playing well, you can see Mike Vrabel's impact on Drake May in the sense that and on the defensive side of the ball, which is what Mike Vrabel is known for, right? Caleb Williams, for the most part, is the exact same guy, just with a cooler head coach. Mm-hmm. That's really what this is. Like, if you look at, like, I don't look at Caleb Williams and see anything that is glaringly different from the Caleb Williams we saw play football last season. Last season, Caleb Williams had less than 4,000 yards. He finished with 3,500 yards, 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He had an 87 passer rating, a 43 QBR. He completed 63% of his passes. This season, his completion percentage is down. Now, he'll probably get back to 3,500 yards. He'll probably get more touchdowns, but he's also thrown one less interception. He might pass that number from last season as well. He's been sacked less, which is great, but that's more so a product of what they invested into the offensive line, not necessarily Caleb himself. His pass rating is about the same. His QBR is up, but like, I'm not looking at games and saying Caleb Williams is the reason why they won. You know what I mean? The way that I look at Drake May and I say Drake May is the reason why the Patriots are winning football games. The New England Patriots, for the first time post Tom Brady, I believe, have a chance to host a playoff game. I don't believe they've hosted a playoff game. I know they made the playoffs that one year when the Bills went perfect and scored on every single drive and had them looking bad against with Mac Jones, but I don't think they've hosted a playoff game since Tom Brady's been gone. For the first time post Brady have a chance to host a playoff game. The defense looks great. I saw something earlier when Christian Gonzalez plays, which happens to just be over this 10-game stretch. They've won every single game. The defense has looked great these last couple games. And I just look at this and I say, Mike Vrabel has done an incredible job, and it makes sense because Mike Vrabel was the best candidate available in this wave of head coaches, and he's doing the best job with this team. The only way I think Ben Johnson can be head coach or can be coach of the year is the Bears finish with the best record in the league. And the Bears aren't going to finish with the best record in the league.
So the Coach of the Year award is not who's the best coach in the league trophy. Everybody knows that. It's the best narrative trophy. Yeah. Who's exceeded the expectations the most. Ben Johnson was like the hot coach candidate. Everybody said, yo, whoever gets Ben Johnson, this is blah, 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 blah. What Mike Vrabel has been able to do with the Patriots, which essentially the same roster, plus or minus some other pieces, 92-point differential, top 10 in offensive and defensive rating in the league. Like, that's not what the Bears have. The Bears, like the Bears have these like inflated numbers, and they're still pedestrian. Like, they're just winning games. Like, they're not good at really anything, but they're winning. So I guess it doesn't matter for some people. But when the rubber meets the road, the Patriots are like legit. Like, they're legit best. And on top of the fact that they're statistically the best team in the league, they're the number 1 team in the league right now. They have the most wins. They're tops and everything. And you have to, and he's doing it. And it's not like he has some veteran. He has a second-year quarterback who he turned into an MVP candidate. Ben Johnson ain't doing that with Caleb Williams. So not only do you have the team turned around, you have the quarterback who went from a second year, is this guy the guy, to MVP candidate in his second year, on top of having all of the statistics to back it up. To me, Mike Vrabel, I think Ben Johnson's probably a good second, outside of Shane Steichen being able to do what he did with the Colts, specifically with Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones' injury kind of derailed that a little bit, but and then Norm Macdonald from Seattle is also a candidate. Like, I would be remiss not to mention him with that terrifying defense that they have. So, but for me, Mike Vrabel has the Patriots to the point where people are like, yo, the Patriots are back. Like, the dynasty's back. Like, doing shit like that. Like, it's a little bit of, we're kind of embellishing that a little bit, but it's not. It's the fact that he's just oh my God, the Patriots, they're going to be bad for 20 years to like, holy shit, like they're back contending in a sense. So mine is definitely going for Mike Vrabel so far. All right. Bert, do you have a game ball you want to give out?
Yeah, I do actually. And this has to go to a reporter by the name of Ben Garrett, who happened to do arguably one of my favorite things, which is piss off giant baby coaches, both from the NFL as well as college, by saying simple criticisms such as Lane Kiffin deciding to leave Ole Miss before the season's even over, and said that you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. And man, did this get his panties all in a bunch. And there's nothing I love more than multi-million-dollar crybabies who fail occasionally at the highest level, who's now on to his, sixth or seventh job within the past 8 years or so. And I absolutely love this. Look, we all know that a lot of times from media personalities, they're there to get a rise out of people for clicks, for bait. He was making a simple comparison about him being non-committal and jumping from place to place. And boy, did this not sit well with Lane Kiffin, and it was just fucking hilarious. So my game ball has to go to Ben Garrett for the simple fact of pissing Lane Kiffin off.
That's hilarious. Yeah, Lane Kiffin, you're a fucking scumbag. It's one thing to leave. Not that whatever.
Season, yeah.
Before the playoffs start, like you're leaving, which is fine, I guess. But then you just leave. Don't take the offensive staff with you. Like you're fucking over the kids. Like that's fucked up, man. Like I feel like you're going to be sharing a room with our Bryles here pretty soon. So, Dwayne Marcus, you have a game ball you want to give out?
My game ball goes to Nick Saban, because it seems like for some reason, every time there is an important issue regarding college football, Nick Saban is the only one who seems to like get it right, which probably makes it probably wise to go. I don't understand why it's so controversial to say that the transfer portal window and the window of time in which coaches are able to be interviewed and potentially leave for new jobs needs to be fixed and needs to be adjusted. It is unfair to these players that their coaches can just up and leave before the season's over. And it's unfair to the coaches that players can just decide to up and leave and sit out of bowl games and sit out of late games that mean something for them and for like their contract and their money and stuff because they want to go somewhere else. And like, I understand it that it's college and it's kind of a tough thing to do because if you kind of do it for one sport, you might have to do it for all sports. Like I get that, but you guys know, I've been saying for a long time that college football needs to be treated like its own entity because it is its own entity. College football has enough revenue to rival with some of the biggest sports leagues in the world. Like that's how much money college football brings in. And I appreciate Nick Saban being like, yo, like as a coach, you have to be aware that there are players out here who, even though they probably shouldn't, they commit to programs for you. And so if you decide before the season's over to leave, you don't then get to ask the athletic director if you can stay through the playoffs. When you decide you want to stay through the playoffs, don't leave. Stay through the playoffs, and you can play with them. So like my game ball goes to Nick Saban because it seems like every time there's like a controversial thing in college football, he's like the first and only person to say what makes the most sense. And I don't understand why it's always so controversial.
My game ball goes to Josh Allen, breaking Cam Newton's all-time rushing record for a quarterback at 76 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, leading the league. You said what?
They're so anti-black. What's wrong with you?
Who, me? Josh Allen? All right, I'll give it to Tyrese Maxey. You just dropped another 30-piece on the fucking lowly Washington Wizards since you wanted to go. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Dwayne Marcus's Washington Wizards. Tyrese Maxey made him look like the Washington Mystics tonight and dropped 35 on their ass. Sorry, my bad.
For the Washington Mystics, that's a good basketball team there.
Yeah, they got something building. What's
championship? Unlike the Wizards.
Listen. What's my girl's name? The one they just drafted that I really like. What's her Citron? What's her name?
Sonia Citron.
Whoo! Hey, future bright, future bright, and just like that, without any doubt, the WNBA is back.